Welcome back to episode 5. First, here's an update of my foundry and what's going on in it. The footage that you'll see initially is from a day in between where I'm grinding for standing and completing the Glass Gambit quest. Later in the video I'll be doing a lot of the story quests for story progression. So the reason why we want to focus on Index at this point in time is because a lot of the things going forward from here will require a lot of credits for all the different standings and especially the depth bonds on Fortuna. We're just looking to craft all the different weapons that you need for mastery. And in general, with mod upgrades and everything included, we'll be burning through our credits, especially at first, quite quickly. Index at this point in time is going to be quite difficult because we haven't unlocked our Revenant yet. That's not going to be possible for quite a while unless you were to buy Revenant with Plat, which I don't advise at all because Revenant is very easy to acquire through the Cetus bounties and completion of his quest. I'll quickly showcase here how Index is going to go, but in general we're going to be using Zoris and hiding behind walls to stun the enemies with our electric status effect on the explosion so that they can't fight back. We'll then carry as many points as possible without sacrificing too much health, because for each point that you carry you'll lose maximum health and shields, and then you're going to take it nice and patiently and turn in all the necessary points until you win. At which point you'll secure the 250,000 for completion of the Index. I highly advise against continuing going in the Index at this moment because the enemies will quickly outscale your damage. Pretty much after the first round they'll already be level above 100 and we just don't have the damage to deal with that at this very moment. Additionally, I'm looking forward to completing the Hidden Messages quest as fast as possible. One of the 3 initial frames that we'll be getting that helps us go throughout the entire early game is Mirage. I've spoken about her before, but her gimmick is that she focuses on increasing your damage dealt. Her clones help her avoid to take damage by having enemies fire at the clones instead of you. Of course, that means that you still have to watch out for AoE damage such as rocket launchers. Crafting Warframe takes a while, we have to focus on it as soon as possible so that it's ready for our Eidolon fights and of course later on content. Since the initial 50 plat that you start with is untradeable, I highly advise that you spend the 50 plat that you get on Warframe slots, since you start out only with 2 Warframe slots and you'll very quickly realize that you need more, especially because during the Sacrifice quest there is a required Warframe that you have to build for the completion of the quest. The Sacrifice being a story quest that will be unlocked shortly after we do all the prerequisites. Here, as you can see, I'm just quickly ranking up with the Ostrons and picking my reward. When you're picking these rewards, if you're unsure of what to pick just pick the blueprint recipes because they'll be required for a lot of different crafting recipes and therefore they'll be generally useful and save you some standing in the end of the day. Right, so for the personal quarters that are required for the next quest, you'll need some tellurium. Tellurium can be acquired in Salacia, for example, or on Uranus missions. It's up to you which one you do, both of them have decent drop rates, but it'll most likely require at least a couple of runs for you to actually drop the 2 that you need. At this point in the game, Archwing missions are going to be really tough for us, especially because we only have the original Adonata Archwing. Later on, you can unlock Archwings like Itzal or Elytron, or the most defensive one being Amesha, which basically means you can't really die. We also have really bad selection of weapons, so we really have to make do with what we have. The best Archwing weapon at this point in time is just your melee weapon, so you should utilize that as much as you can. Quickly drop all the necessary mods to be able to put on your weapons, and you should trick it out with just whatever you think is useful in this moment. If you do want to acquire new Archwings as soon as possible, I highly recommend that you focus on Amesha and the Itzal frame. Elytron can be fun, and I can also recommend that, but it doesn't really scale all too well into later missions, since later missions will be pretty much done with weapons alone, so therefore Amesha is good for those, and Itzal clears low missions quite quickly. Getting enough mastery is starting to get tougher with every day, but here we have the daily rank up mastery, rank 5 of course. With this, we'll unlock a lot of the different Amos bounties that we need to do to acquire mother tokens quickly, and so now I'll also be adding that to my rotation. Also, for the Zoris, we'll be trying to farm for the volatile quick return mod. It will increase the range of explosion on our Zoris. With that, here's the rank up for the Intrati. Once again, with similar logic, I'm just going to be picking one of the blueprint recipes. Especially because on Deimos, we'll have to craft the entire Necromech, which is going to be a very lengthy process that requires a lot of material grind. So that's going to take quite a long time to complete. It'll require pretty much all of the different blueprint recipes, so you can spend your standing now, you don't need to rush to Helmand straight away. One thing of note here about the necromechs, they were actually recently changed and you don't really have to do the vaults anymore for the necromech parts. You can simply buy them from the father for 2,000 standing a piece, I believe, and then you just need the materials from mining, fishing, all different sources to actually be able to build the necromech. The reason why we want the necromech so badly is because it's a hard requirement to unlock one of the story quests later on in order to be able to progress. So this is the foundry from the next day. Here you can see all the different things that I've already completed. Since we completed the Mirage parts, I'll be starting up to craft the actual Warframe very soon. Just need an Argon crystal. Crafting the actual Warframe takes 3 days and therefore it will take a while. So until then we can focus on meeting all the different requirements and leveling up our standings. After that we want to start as soon as possible to use the Mirage to be able to do Eidolons, with which we will acquire a new amp and then be able to go to Zariman and progress the story further. So now with the Mirage being crafted, we can focus on story quests once again. I'm going to be doing the Chains of Harrow. It's a very wonderful and atmospheric quest. I'm going to let you enjoy at least the very first half of it.
Emergency power. Not detecting any crew. I don't like this. Search the area. Blades. 2 refined for a Grineer kill squad. Is there anything else? Red Veil. Could they have done this? The Veil have been Meridian allies for years. Search for survivors. Tenno, I lost you for a second. What did you see?
Oh, child of Zarman, please help me. I served the Veil. The flock has been driven mad. I humbly beg for the protection of you and your vessel.
I'm marking the area. Stay alert. It may be an ambush.
So as I spoke about in the previous episode, we had a problem here with electricity combining with toxin to give us corrosive. So I'm going to fix that now that I have more capacity. I'm going to add magnetic to it. Magnetic is a useful status effect, but we primarily want to get that single toxin effect because it bypasses shields and will allow us to do a significant amount of damage directly to enemy health at this point in the game. Here we're approaching a very questing heavy portion of the video. Here I'm going to be doing Apostasy prologue.
Honored Seven, we have gathered here today to carry out the sentencing of Archimedean Margulis. You face the Jade Light. Recant, and we will grant a merciful death.
My daughters, my sons, I want you to know my last thoughts are of you. How long have we waited for this moment?
Forgive me.
For what? I am not who you think I am.
But of course you are. Imprisoned, just as she was.
Ballast.
I will not abandon you again, Margulis.
And now we're going to do the sacrifice quest that I spoke about before. Hope these little bits of story actually entice you to focus more on the story of Warframe. There aren't many quests, so every single little bit counts.
Howl all you want. It won't bring him back. Lure brings you strength, Umbra. But you cannot defy your creator. Even I make mistakes. Like you.
Operator, are you alright? Your dental...
Here I decided to give in to the temptation of getting myself some fashion. I'll never spend any plat for actual progression or gift myself anything of the sort. Just some color packs and some skin packs for my operator and Mirage since I'm so used to them on my main account. And one of the goals here is to stay as free to play as possible to help people follow along without having to do anything special. Though, as spoken about before, I will of course be trying to get plat by running missions and trading mods with people, so we at least have some kind of plat on this account overall. Yet another mastery rank up in this video. I think we're up to 3 now. That just goes to show you how much there is going on behind the scenes and how much I'm crunching into these videos. There's one more quest that we have yet to do in this video, and that's the Chimera Prologue. Once we do that, I'm going to call it good for here. And the next video we're going to finish progressing the Necromech, ability to continue the story at long last. Keep in mind that while all of this is going on, I'm getting myself standing on Cetus, Fortuna, Deimos, Quills, and whenever I have leftover time I try and do a little bit of Little Duck here and there just to speed up the progress. I didn't quite manage to record the clip here, but I ended up getting a cute little Huras pet. I'm gonna name him Stealthy because that's what Huras pets specialize in. I highly recommend to buy the incubator blueprint so you can continuously incubate new eggs as soon as the last one finishes. That way you'll very quickly go through all the different Kubro breeds. Keep in mind the way to get a Kubro egg is to just do like a simple Earth capture mission and then destroy the Kubro dens. You can stack as many eggs as you want, you make the incubators for them, and then you incubate them. So that's about it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.